just like Vasyl Lomachenko, he is gold medalist, um, unified champion, and now he is on his way, in my opinion, to be undisputed champion. I mean, let's face it, he is the favorite to win the World Boxing Super Series, and he seems to have like that extra. Put it this way, he never. I haven't seen him in any trouble in any of his fights. And it always seems, even from, I would say from round 2 on, if it makes it that far, he was getting a lot of early knockouts. He's only had 13 fights. Um, he can get you out of there and turn it up whenever he wants to. Dude is good. His name is Oleksandr Usyk. He's also from the Ukraine, like Vasyl Lomachenko. He's under the management of Igor Klimas. He has Lomachenko. He has Sergey Kovalev, Usyk, Grovesdick, and a good portion of those, Ukrainian and Russian fighters. By the way, I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. We're talking about the World Boxing Super Series. This fight is taking place January the 27th. The only issue is over here in the United States, and even as I'm trying to talk about it now, I'm getting frustrated because I don't know how I'm going to watch the fight, because there is no deal for this fight to be televised in the United States, even though it's a mega world unification in a tournament that has $50 million spread across 2 divisions. I've already explained with the World Boxing Super Series several times, but, well, more than several times. I've done tons of videos on it already. But to give you a brief breakdown, there's 2 divisions. It's the Cruiserweight division, which is this right here, that has 4 belts on the line. You have our Oleksandr Usyk, who's the WBO, excuse me, he's not unified yet. He's the WBO champion. You have Mairis Briedis, who's the WBC. You have Unier Dorticos, who is the WBA, and you have who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing? Oh, the IBF, Murat Gassiev versus Dorticos. All right, my bad. It's early. It's real early in the morning. So, okay. All right, so let me explain again. We have the WBO champion right here facing a WBC champion on January the 27th. Now, the last time we were able to see the fight in the States on the World Boxing Super Series website. Yes, there was some hiccups and it lagged and it cut out a few times. That's no good. As it stands right now, there's no way for us to watch the fight here in the States, which pisses me off. One of my team members got a chance to talk to Richard Schaefer about, like, yo, what's going on with the World Boxing Super Series? How come, a deal can't be finalized for these fights to be showcased in the United States? Now, last year, I did get a chance early in the year around the time. This was before the World Boxing Super Series Gala. I talked to the president of Showtime Sports, Steven Espinoza, and I was basically asking him, like, do you have any plans on televising the World Boxing Super Series or any fights, even though I understand that, you have a budget, for boxing, and a lot of those, I didn't ask him this, but I understand. When I asked my question, I understand that networks have a budget for boxing, right? They can't just say, well, we can put boxing on every week if we want to. They have a certain amount to spend, and they get a certain amount of dates. For example, it might be a Showtime world premiere movie coming on a certain weekend. So Showtime already knows that, and Showtime Sports already knows that ahead of hand, and they know, okay, well, we can't broadcast a fight on this date. Then you got to coordinate with venues and everything like that. But in regards to broadcasting, the broadcasting costs some money. So I'm thinking, like, well, damn. Can I understand they can't stream it on the Showtime page because it's too big, but it's like, can we get like a mid, it's hard to ask for Showtime to broadcast some fights when they can't broadcast the whole thing. You see what I'm saying? What investment, is that when it's like, okay, we'll broadcast this fight, but we're not going to broadcast the next round or this other fight. It just doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. But still, something's got to be done when it comes to the championships. At least give us the championships to make us think that, okay, well, maybe for the next World Boxing Super Series, even if it'll be in different divisions, we'll get some fights broadcast. So that's a big issue when it comes to having these fights broadcast in the United States. And the fight is not, the cards are not, the tournament is not as big as it should be on the international scale, is because we're suffering, especially as media over here trying to spread awareness on the fight. because people are saying, well, where can we watch the fight? Then I'm like, well, I know I'm going to watch the fight, but I can't, because I'm going to watch the fight regardless. But it's fucked up, that we got to resort to, unsavory means to watch fights like this, especially if their fucking website goes down and we're sitting here watching, and I'm like, and I'm telling like the team members, all right, make sure you watch this fight. It's on the website. Then we can't report on the fight. I can't do a post fight. It gets pissed off. But I watch the fights, but still, we shouldn't have to go through this for fights of this magnitude. But I think that Oleksandr Usyk is going to win. The winner is going to be the WBC and WBO Cruiserweight champion. Then you're going to have Junior Dorticos versus Murat Gassiev. And in the finals, in a perfect world, will be Oleksandr Usyk versus Murat Gassiev, with Dorticos being the dark horse. Mairis Briedis is good, but Oleksandr Usyk is just on another level with the movement and the punch variety. And even though he's been known, somewhat like Lomachenko, to beat his opponents off an accumulation of punches, not necessarily hard-hitting punches, with the 13-0 with the 11 KOs, but still, it seems as though, as I said, that he just has that other gear, where he can just turn it up and get his opponents out of there whenever he feels like it. So Mairis Briedis is, as you can see, by far, 23-0, 10 chaos, 10 more fights. And if you look at, who he fought Marco Huck, Mike Perez, and if you look, Manuel Char, his resume, he's even got fucking Daniel Williams down there. His resume, it's even if it's not much, it's more tested and more fights that go to the distance or later into the fight, So I don't know. I just picture Usyk just dancing around him, in my personal opinion. I see him just dancing around him. Here's a look at the Cruiserweight division, by the way. For those who don't know, this World Boxing Super Series tournament is supposed to be putting the division on the map, but the fights are not televised. Over here in the States, like the winner of this is going to be a unified, undisputed champion. I don't know how this situation works out with this WBA situation. No, in my next World Boxing Super Series video on Dorticos versus Gassiev, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this because there's so much to talk about. But anyway, what am I doing? January the 27th, by the way, the finals of the World Boxing Super Series are in May. So you have these fighters that are not only making a lot of money in this 9-month span, but getting in quality fights in less than a year. 3 quality fights in less than a year. So for a guy like Oleksandr Usyk, he can get a lot done. He can clean out the division in less than a year. And then there's talk of him moving the heavyweight. So imagine him on the heavyweight scene with guys like Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, Tyson Fury, David Haye. Throw Tony Bellew in the mix, who's the WBC Emeritus champion, by the way. If he loses, win or loss, truth be told, against David Haye in May, he can go back down and get an automatic mandatory shot because he's WBC Emeritus champion against Oleksandr Usyk or Mairis Briedis. I know it seems as though I'm throwing Mairis Briedis under the bus and not giving him a chance. But, he's more of a fight, like a pressure fighter, type of, and I just see him chasing Usyk around. Usyk just moving off of the jab. This fight, realistically looking at it, and if you watch enough fights of these, enough fights of these fighters, then you can see that, Mairis Briedis is going to be, it's, I mean, he can't even really play that nasty holding game like he was doing with Mike Perez. Because Briedis is not going to, Usyk is not going to be there. He's going to keep moving around. Dude's got a nice BMX bike. For those who don't know that analogy, that means he knows how to move around the ring. He has the nicest bike you ever wanted to see for a cruiserweight. That movement is. So will Briedis be able to catch up to him? I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. All the links to my social media have been obviously popping up in the description box. Or right here on the screen. My bad. Please subscribe.